Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our series. I am Tiffany Hurd, your host to the Unstoppable Entrepreneur, How to Master Your Mindset and Confidently Create Your 6+ Figure Business. Today, we have an amazing guest, and I'm so excited to have her, Regina Huber. And Regina is the CEO and founder of Transform Your Performance as a transformational leadership coach and consultant whose mission is to drive inclusive leadership and female advancement. She is also a global inspirational speaker with experience on 5 continents and is the author of the book called Speak Up, Stand Out, and Shine. Regina, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. It's a delight to be on.
Thank you. So I'm just dying for you to share more because you're involved in so many amazing things with our audience. So would you just mind sharing more about who you are, what you do, and all the good things that you are involved with?
Yes, of course. So as you might have heard from my accent, I'm originally German. I grew up in Germany. I moved away when I was 26, and ever since then, I haven't stopped moving really. Although I've been now in New York for about 8 years, so that's about the longest I think. Place. I lived in San Francisco at some point. I lived in Brazil and Argentina twice. I lived in Spain. And I've spent a lot of time lately on the African continent in several different countries. Also done some work in the Middle East to a more limited extent, but also very exciting and fun. And yes, so I have a quite eclectic background, not only in terms of the geography, but also activities and my professional background. And I've studied a lot of holistic healing on the side, and that took me to neuroscience. It took me to understanding energy more profoundly, and then applying these types of knowledge in my powerful leadership transformation, which is a system or a process that I have created, and in coaching as in general.
Amazing. So I know you're incredibly involved with a lot of leadership. So what does leadership mean to you?
Well, leadership to me is an attitude. It doesn't come with a position. Okay.
Love that.
It's leadership is practiced more by behavior than by words, although words are important, of course, because they are a tool of communication, very important one. And especially for me, because I love languages. So I speak 5 languages, 5.5. And I love languages, and I love conversational intelligence, which is another modality I studied. And they all are really useful. But if we don't have the behavior and the attitude and the mindset as leader, and if we do not know how to lead ourselves, then it doesn't really work. And leading ourselves starts with self-awareness. So that's always the start of leadership, leading myself.
Yes, I love that, and I could not agree more with that. That hits home for me too, and it lands completely, and I hope that it does for our audience. So I am incredibly interested in learning more about any obstacles or limiting beliefs that you experienced when you were maybe in the beginning stages of creating your business, and what was it that was coming up for you that you experienced, 1, and then 2, how did you overcome them to create such great success?
Well, there have been a few, of course. We don't only have one, right? But one stands out, of course, because before I moved to New York, about a year and a half before that experience, I had a very, very painful, before that move, I had a very painful experience, language. A very painful experience with a business partner in Brazil. And that was a huge trigger for me to actually start this business. But at the time, I didn't know that, of course. So first, I was acting from a victim mindset, and I had to really overcome that victim mindset and step into a self-empowering mindset. And in the end, this was one of the big reasons why I started this business. When I came here to New York, I looked at my previous experience, and I looked at everything I had done at the Boston Consulting Group, 16 years in several different locations, so leadership experience there, team leadership, development, and all of this, and my other studies and my 2 businesses in Argentina and Brazil the experience abroad and I put it all together in what I do now. But at the time, I didn't really have very high self-esteem because I had just gone through this experience, right? And it really didn't only cost me a lot of money and my business at the time, it also cost me my self-confidence. So how to rebuild that self-confidence? And that's a major step to take. It doesn't go from one day to the next. It really deeply work on subconscious programming. And fears, on my self-esteem, to rebuild everything almost from scratch. And that's also how I came up with the tools that I later put into my book. They were my crutches in a way, but they're still helpful today. And yeah, that's what really helped me at the time was my holistic healing studies, because when you study truly holistic healing, it deals with everything, with not just energy and, you know, the things we think about at first when we hear holistic. It deals with very deep subconscious programming. And that also stirred my interest for neuroscience. Up a lot on it. I applied all the tools that I now use for my clients in a slightly different way, but depending on their requirements, of course, apply them to myself first. And this has helped me over the years. And as you said before, you know, this never ends. It's self-development never ends. Growth never ends. So it's an ongoing practice. I try to do a little bit of it every single morning. Part of a meditation or whatever I do. I sometimes vary a little bit, but it's something that just never stops because limiting beliefs are created through our experiences and through what we hear and perceive, and from even through the collective subconscious at any given moment. So we really need to become the observers of our thoughts, of our thought patterns, our beliefs. A lot of it is subconscious, and that's why we have to observe our patterns. That's usually a great indicator to get to the subconscious programming, and then identify what serves us, what doesn't serve us, and turn what doesn't serve us around, and whether they're beliefs or emotions, like fear. We all have fear. And a lot of people say, oh, you know, face your fear and do it anyway. That's actually great advice. But it's also good to work on your fear from time to time.
And to add to that, it also is so great to uncover what the root cause of the fear, of what the fear actually is, so that you can feel it and then move through it and continue to, you know, create success or just elevate in whatever area that is. And I absolutely love everything that you just shared with the limiting beliefs and the tools and the strategies and everything that you've used. It's so incredibly useful, and it's so necessary in everything that we do, especially when you're creating a business, especially. And I couldn't agree more with, we all have them, whether it's, you know, it's come from trauma, which is typically from childhood. And it is so visible, especially when you're creating a business. Even when you're super wildly successful in your business, it's so visible. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I know you expressed that a lot of the tools and strategies that you used on yourself are now in your book. Would you mind sharing some of those principles, tools, what have you, that worked for you?
Yes. So the book contains a compilation of tools that I used in the beginning specifically. I still use them sometimes before I go on a stage or before I go in front of an audience to speak. But I use them very much in networking situations, because when you don't feel confident, it's really hard to network in an empowered way. It's hard to make meaningful connections. It's not easy to share in a meaningful way what you do and attract the right contacts towards you. So I had some tools that I could use before going into those networking events. So I just felt a little bit more confident. I felt better about myself. Also at the beginning, when you build a business, of course, you sometimes don't even know how to exactly communicate what you do. And especially in the service business. And we have so many coaches, and one of them, to really express powerfully what distinguishes you from other coaches or whatever your business is, is practice in the beginning, and you have to test your message constantly, and that can be challenging, especially when you speak to people that you have never spoken to. So in those situations, what I did is I made a point of preparing physically, mentally, and energetically. I put a bunch of those exercises together into the book, and depending on people's taste or preferences, they can then choose what speaks more to them. I personally love one exercise, which is very simple, to really just pull into my energy and really enhance my personal power energy around me. And that also helps me enhance my business and my speaking presence. Mm-hmm. And now it becomes easier for people to even see me at networking events. And it just does wonders sometimes. So these little tricks are very powerful.
Yes, there's so many too. And I also really appreciate, what you do daily to really ground yourself and set yourself up for success, whether it's meditation. It sounds like you have an amazing morning routine, if I had to guess. Which is great.
I do.
Yes.
I do. Although, we're not perfect. This morning I skipped it because I had to run to a networking event really early, but it's going to be done tomorrow morning, right? Yeah. So I might skip it a day or two per week, but that's the maximum. Yes.
Yeah.
And I usually like to do guided meditations that really put me into a positive mindset that set me up for the day. Mm-hmm. And, sometimes I do my own, sometimes I do other people's meditations, whatever works. Mm-hmm. I, of course, also with my clients and with myself go much deeper than what's described in the book, because these are very easy to replicate tools and techniques. And when we go really deep with subconscious programming, that's when we can create lasting change and when it really sticks the most. Because at the same time, we can then also really, I call it download, more positive programming.
Very the downloads.
Yeah, and just really create that lasting transformation. Yeah.
And it sounds like what I'm hearing is, as entrepreneurs in general, we're going and we're creating, and it's so important to just pause and get grounded and take that time to connect with yourself subconsciously so that it can, like you shared, you can receive the downloads that are trying to come through, and those are not going to be received unless you slow down oftentimes and just be with yourself and check in and meditate and allow what's intended to come through and create even more inspiration, creativity, what have you. So
yes, so I absolutely agree. We have to pause sometimes. We could do all day long, and we could right? But that's not really helpful because it's not just about doing; it's about working effectively. It's about also attracting the right contacts, the right opportunities into our businesses and into our lives. Mm-hmm. We cannot do that when we're constantly in push energy. We want to move into the pull energy sometimes, yes, and also be on the receiving end and allow ourselves to see opportunities that we might not see if we just push all the time. Mm-hmm. So that push energy gets transmitted to potential clients or customers, and that's not really helpful in the sales process. Mm-hmm. So we need to settle down a little bit sometimes and as you said, ground ourselves. Mm-hmm. I also think it's important to find our very own way to get that balance and equilibrium back into our systems. So for me, that's dance. Mm-hmm. And I have to power it out sometimes. I do a lot of African dancing. Last night and also Monday night, I did a couple of hours each night of house dance classes, which are extremely exhausting, but very
amazing.
Effective in that sense.
Yeah.
And to just really power it out while you don't think about anything else. Yes, give yourself that break. They are demanding classes, not only physically and the cardio exercise, but also mentally demanding. So I really have to focus, and that then takes me a little bit out of my business into a a mindset where I just can relax, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think that is so important. And I appreciate that you touched on that. It's moving the energy, getting the energy moving, getting the creative juices flowing, and really just being in your body and connecting. And I constantly am having to come back to reminding myself, find joy, find play in everything that you're creating. And I find myself just going, doing business. I constantly am checking myself. Hey, go on a hike, go do something fun, just disconnect for a second. And it's interesting because there will be a lot of resistance towards disconnecting a little bit, even if it's just for a few hours. But every single time that I do, something magical happens, something creative comes through. It's never failed. So I love it. What you're doing.
Yeah, I've had that experience too. So sometimes I say, oh no, I just really need to leave right now. I need to leave the house to take a walk around, around the block or to Central Park. So just a quick walk. And I also, by the way, practice all my, I'm a movement person, so I love that you mentioned movement. I did this both through dance, but also in a different sense. So I've moved a lot, of course. But also I'm very comfortable with change. So I have that mutable energy inside of me. And as such, I need to move from time to time. And I know that, right? So I love long walks, but if I don't have time for long walks, then I do shorter walks. And as soon as the weather gets a little nicer, well, nice for me is warm.
Yeah.
For other people, it might not be. Yeah, exactly. So then I go out in the park and I practice my talks and my presentations while I walk, because I find that I can retain and memorize things more easily. I don't memorize maybe word for word, but I memorize sequences or whatever we do to get prepared for our speaking engagements. So that's how I do it, and that's my preferred way to do it.
That's so wise, and I'm stealing that little nugget from you. I think that's a good idea. And it just allows you to get out of the business office or wherever it is that you're used to doing either a presentation or meetings, what have you, and to just be in nature and just be free.
Yeah. So if you meet somebody talking to herself in the park, it's me.
Yeah, perfect. I'll make sure to head on out to New York and look for you. So is there anything, I'm sure there are, I don't know why I said anything, but are there things or more than one thing that you are currently working on that you are excited about this year that you're creating?
Yeah, there are actually a lot of projects. So I am working on a couple of projects in Nigeria. A few of these things are still to be confirmed, but I'm sharing them anyway because I'm really
out there.
Them. They will come through at some point. So Nigeria, I'm talking to people in Kenya. I just came back from Uganda and Rwanda, as I travel a lot actually, and I might go back at the end of March to speak at an event in Rwanda, as it seems now. I'm also this month, it's already February. Yes, it is. So this month I'm speaking at a conference in North Carolina, and this is going to be about the changing requirements for leadership in the digital age and in AI times. I'm co-presenting with a partner for that. I'm also working on a March engagement in Phoenix for women. So Women's History Month is coming up, always busy, right? And so lots of speaking, lots of other contacts in South Africa, some other places I'm talking to, always excited about traveling, but also about doing the work here. I'm also doing a local event in March. It's probably going to be March 16th at a boutique. The owner makes specifically leader empowering business clothes. So really interesting concept. Yeah, her name is Sarah Lamb, and we are doing that probably mid-March. Yes, so it'll go out soon. Yeah, a lot of exciting stuff going on. I don't know where to start or end. Yes.
It sounds like there gets to be a Regina in 12 different places at once.
Yeah, so I'm probably, once the beaming technique is really working, I'm going to be the first user, I think.
I can see
Beam
that.
yourself around.
Exactly. I'm going to put myself here, and then all the places. I
Yeah.
love that. Okay, so you are all over the place creating so much. What would you say is just the secret sauce, the ticket to success?
I believe it's to practice feeling limitless.
Mm,
We are really limitless, but we forget about it
hmm
all the time. So it's really practice to feel into that unlimited potential that we all are born with.
mm,
And then educated out of it at school and by society, whoever it is that has a role in our lives, because we were as little kids we learn limitation, but we're not born like that. So now we have to unlearn limitation, relearn our unlimited potential. Yes, to step into that again. So that's why I also always say you cannot really step into your full potential because there's no such thing. It's unlimited. So the more you step into it, the more it grows.
hmm
So practice being limitless and don't just say it, but feel into it. What does that really feel like?
hmm
Yeah.
hmm
And I also made a new free video actually that I call the 3 mantras for empowered business people or a empowered business person. And one of them is about this because I think we do not focus enough on it.
Sure. Perfect.
Yes.
So to segue from that, and I could not agree with you more. And it just what comes to mind is for those that are sitting on the sidelines that know that they have this gift, know that they have this potential to truly step into, whether it's creating their coaching business or creating any type of business. What advice would you give them?
I would say partner or look for people who are great supporters. Yes, you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to partner with somebody as in business partner or not on paper, right? But you need a support system. So really go out, network, and look for those people who are truly supportive and who are truly give and take people. Yes. So they might even find mentors who are prepared to only give. That's wonderful, but usually it's a give and take, it's an exchange. I was just at a networking event this morning and I made some wonderful new connections. And I know that it's going to be a wonderful new exchange with these people. And this year also, you asked me earlier what I was up to. So I have a few new collaboration offers. And I will, I have already evaluated them and I'm super excited about them because I know that we have complementary skill sets, we have complementary situations, and together we can achieve more. So really look for those circles that are truly supportive. There are circles that are not so supportive, and it's you just need to find your path, your own circle. It's different for everybody. And then there's so much free content online that you can use, like this summit, for example. It's absolutely free and available. So take these opportunities to get inspired, to get useful tools that don't have to always cost money. Of course, it's great if you can sign up for coaching, but even there, do your due diligence, have a deep conversation with the coach you're considering to work with, because it's a really important decision and investment. And to say, I've made a few unwise investments in that sense, and I've made a few really good ones. And it's really important to evaluate very, very carefully where you put your money.
Yes. And I thank you for sharing that. That's so crucial. It's so important. And there's so much out there that's available for us nowadays, especially a summit, doing your due diligence online, like you shared. There's so much information out there. So thank you for sharing. And I guess lastly, to just close this out, is there anything that you'd like to share additionally with the audience, a free gift that you'd like to offer, as well as where we can find you online?
Yes, sure. So my website is transformyourperformance.com. transformyourperformance.com. That's also my business name. And I am on Facebook with the same business name, Transform Your Performance. I'm on LinkedIn as Regina Huber, on Twitter as Transform Dance, aligned with one of my passions. The other passion is co-creation. and, yes, and then I also have this freebie, which is on my website. It's at transformyourperformance.com/empowered business. So I'm sure you will also share that with our audience. And the book is on Amazon. It's called Speak Up, Stand Out, and Shine. And then I also am sharing a white paper, which is totally free on my website. You can easily find it on the homepage if you're interested in diversity and inclusion, topics like that. And maybe some people are also watching who are in corporate or employees in any organization, and they might find that part helpful.
Perfect. Well, Regina, it has been such an honor having this opportunity to interview you and to have you share everything that you shared with our audience. So thank you for being so open, sharing all that you have, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you asking me excellent questions, and I appreciate having the opportunity to inspire our audience.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
See you soon.